My cheapest bag when I went out. These are all accumulated work experiences. And Little Sweet can't accept them at all. Most of Lu Qian's reactions after breaking up are like this. Lu Qian is definitely a high-quality person who treats people well when they are together, gentle, handsome, wealthy, humorous, considerate, and generous. Who would want to break up with her? Of course, there are also those who are rational and have a clear purpose, which is to make money. They take the money and leave without forgetting to say thank you to me. After working for 3 years, I have met 2 such young ladies, who are simply a breath of fresh air. Sister Xiao Xiao, please let me meet Brother Lu. Xiao Tian Tian has a strong Taiwanese accent and a very aggressive voice. This trick from my sister is really useless to me. Ms. Lu, please understand my job. My surname is Su. Sorry, Ms. Su, Mr. Lu's meaning is very clear. If you insist on bothering me, you won't get this money. Lu Qian is such a terrible thing that I can't even remember their surname. They will doubt my professional ethics. Xiao Tian Tian is a small internet celebrity, quite sensible, and knows that it's useless to talk to me. Don't make a fuss, sign the contract, take the money, and leave the city. Before leaving, tell me, Miss, you must tell Brother Lu that I really love her, but she shouldn't forget him. I nodded. The speaker didn't mean it, and so did the listener. I definitely don't need to say this to Lu Qian. After he left, he couldn't stand it and shuddered. His coquettish voice made me feel uncomfortable. I know why Lu Qian broke up with him, and he can't stand me like this. Back at the company, Lu Qian was indeed sitting at my workstation. He looked me up and down to see if I had been splashed with water or beaten this time. It seemed that his secretary was going to be compensated for the pain. It didn't matter. I didn't lack those 3 melons and good dates now. Don't I know him? If he was beaten, he 10,000 to 30,000, dehydrated, etc. Depending on his mood, 3,000 to 10,000 yuan. If you want to give it, I will be happy to accept it. Lu Qian got excited, stood up with 4 big teeth grinning, deliberately approached me, and said to me in a tone of pretending to be ambiguous, would Qin's secretary like to have dinner with me? I skillfully took 2 steps back, and it became a habit. He always had a few minutes of loneliness after breaking up, and he would tease me every time. I tried my best to persuade myself that it was part of the job to be patient. I had a will of steel, and I could do it. I'm sorry, I'm not too busy. I rejected him politely and seriously, and his secretary never gave me face. Lu Qian pretended to be very sad, but after a few minutes he became normal. Strangely enough, I have also met many second-generation rich people with Lu Qian. At least the rich in their circle look serious, and I don't know about their private lives, but there are few performers like Lu Qian. When I saw him doing business, his temperament suddenly improved, he immediately became stable, looked very reliable, and had a somewhat strategic aura. But when I saw him with his mistress, I really wanted to poke my own eyes. His temperament disappeared suddenly, and he was flamboyant and pretentious. He said I had never been in love and didn't understand that this was a hobby. I really didn't understand. Lu Qian left after sending the phone call to me. He is also a busy person with a busy schedule every day. He also takes time to accompany his girlfriend to date according to the process, which is a real-time management event. Actually, every time I deal with a lover, as long as the other party doesn't behave too excessively, I won't want to resign. But I always encounter some unreasonable insults or even physical violence. Maybe Lu Qian likes this type of person, but it's very difficult for me to do my job. In the past 3 years, I have been slapped, hit in the face with a bag, splashed with water and coffee, forced to call Lu Qian, his phone and throw it on the ground, and scolded in public for being shameless. This money is hard to earn, but he gave me too much. Every time I go to deal with Lu Qian's lover, I carry the artificial leather bag that I bought on Pinduoduo for more than 10 yuan. It has a large capacity and has a very good water blocking effect. Now I have mastered the angle of the water cup flying and can quickly block it. This time, Lu Qian has a college student who learned to dance. He has a round little bun face and a kind of childishness with shining eyes. He looks really young and can't walk past 20 years old. He is a bit of a beast. But it's a mutual agreement, right? It's hard to say what a little steamed bun face he has. He treats Lu Qian like a boyfriend, makes bento and brings it to the company. He is very happy to see Lu Qian finish eating, prints out their group photo, and puts it on Lu Qian's work desk. He started knitting scarves for Lu Qian in the summer. When he saw Lu Qian, there was a clear stupidity in his eyes. I wonder why he started to deceive people's feelings. He didn't do this before. He always found girls who knew everything in his heart to make it easier to break up. Why did he change his taste this time? I'm really worried that this girl will break up and make a big fuss, heartbroken. I'm still afraid of dealing with such girls. Young, believe in love. Xiao Baozi looks silly and sometimes feels embarrassed to come in by himself. He waits for me at the company gate to pick him up. Thank you, Secretary Qin. He gave me a small doll keychain that I made myself and a cute little penguin. Girls who like to do handicrafts will be disappointed. I don't know how long Lu Qian will be with Xiao Baozi, but I would rather he clarify it with someone earlier and not let his sister fall deeper into it. His secretary booked a room, and they were together for 19 days. Lu Qian asked me to book a room, which broke the record. The next day, Lu Jian came to the company with an unhappy expression. I thought she would have a spring breeze on her face, but she handed me a check and left without saying a word, without even filling in the numbers. I knew there was a job coming. I booked a private room and arranged to meet Xiao Baozi face. She also had tear stains on her face and didn't say anything when she saw me. She hugged me and started crying. Monster Lu Qian, why did you want to harm such a well-behaved girl? Qi Jia, I didn't mean to deceive her, I was just afraid she wouldn't want me. Woo, Xiao Baozi face cried with rain on her head. I felt heartbroken just by looking at it. I shouldn't have asked for more reasons, it would have hurt, but I wanted to know why Xiao Baozi's face was crying and gasping for breath this time. I understood that it was his first time in a relationship to deceive Lu Qian. He had dated 2 before and even said he had had sex with his boyfriend in high school. This Lu Qian is also an experienced player in the field of love. How could he not distinguish between the innocence of a young girl and the pretended innocence? The two are completely different. Compared with Xiao Tian, he obviously doesn't have the feeling of accidents and disguises. You can tell from his behavior that he is a little fool who has never been in love. Yesterday, I was scared, so I told him. He was very angry and left. Can you help me tell him not to be angry? Silently recite the professional ethics manual, don't empathize. Sorry, Xiao Zhou sister, you have been broken up with. You can fill in the numbers on this check by yourself, and please disappear on your own in the future. The little steamed bun face stared at me with innocent big eyes, looking very pitiful. Don't look at me like that, I said I don't count. He refused the check and said he wouldn't bother me after he found out. He deleted Lu Qian's WeChat and phone number in front of me. He looked very aggrieved, like a little panda who didn't drink milk. In the case of the check being returned, I transferred the money to his Alipay account myself, and then blocked him, so he couldn't transfer it back. After Lu Qian and the little steamed bun face broke up, he didn't come to me to be crazy. He should have been scared too, and almost cheated an innocent girl. After being arrogant, Lu Qian didn't look for newbie for another month. He talked about projects, gathered with friends, went to clubs to play racing, and his life was well organized and very fulfilling. Naturally, I only needed to do daily work, and this month was very easy. His secretary was the female companion for the charity dinner. This one-time female companion is relatively easy to find. I only need to choose a set of clothes based on the woman's body shape, ask someone to style her, and not lose face. This job is also very easy. I found a peripheral model to send to the stylist, briefly explained some precautions, and then I had nothing to do. The next day, she appeared at the company with Lu Qian as a bodyguard. Grape is used to it, and my mother asked me to go back to my hometown for a blind date. The man works in a state-owned enterprise, his parents are both teachers, and his family conditions are good. He looked at my photo and thought it was okay. I looked at her photo and saw that she was a very decent young man. We added WeChat and contacted each other intermittently, planning to meet at home on the weekend. I usually have weekends off, so if he doesn't break up, it's none of my business. If he does, I have to work overtime. So I greeted Lu Qian in advance and said I would go back to my hometown on the weekend, meaning that I could endure the breakup for 2 days. What is going back to hometown for a blind date? As soon as I finished speaking, Lu Qian's originally lowered head suddenly lifted up. He looked at me in shock and rushed towards me with a flamboyant gesture. I knew he was about to start again. Secretary Qi, if you want to go on a blind date, listen to this emotionally full tone. People's bosses are all cool twists and turns, but my boss is a money grabber who doesn't know how big or tall he is. Lu Qian asked a series of questions about what he does, like an old lady gossiping. I'm too lazy to deal with him. Anyway, it's my legal weekend off, so I'll just say it. Lu Qian acted for only 3 seconds. Seeing that I didn't want to say anything, he resumed his boss's appearance. It seems that secretary. She is going back to his hometown to get married and have children. He should prepare for the handover before resigning. After listening to Lu Qian's words, I also thought in my heart that I really need to cultivate someone to take over. If there is no problem with blind dates, I estimate that I will resign tomorrow and go home for blind dates. The young man is a bit shy, wearing glasses and has a scholarly vibe. When we met in a coffee shop, my first impression was still good. Which one is Miss Ji Xiaoxiao? I was chatting with the blind date man enthusiastically when suddenly a delivery guy walked in holding flowers.